What's up YouTube? Welcome to the new video. My name is David J. Kelly, and in today's video we're going to talk about 5 important truths that I wish I knew as a man in my 20s. Now being 30 years old, I have a little bit of wisdom after living some life now, and I want to share that with you guys to help you guys that are younger to live an abundant lifestyle in your 20s. These are things I wish I knew. So without further delay, let's get right into it. I have my phone here because this is inspired by an Instagram post I made the other day. So I'm just going to break these down one by one. And the first one we're going to talk about is the fact that the only constant in your life is your purpose on this earth. So what do I mean by that? If you think about your life, even, no matter how old you are, you could be 17, 18, you could be 29, you could be 45, however old you are, I guarantee you if you think about your life, you'll realize that there's a lot of things that are always changing around you, whether that be people that are in and out of your life. This could be girls you've dated and are not dating anymore. This could be friends you've had, they're no longer there. This could be, people in your life that pass away. There's constant change. You have, your pets and they die and just all these different things. Nothing in life is really constant. There's few things in life that are truly, truly constant. And the only one that I have really found is that your purpose, which is the reason you're on this earth, what you're working towards, what you're providing to this world, is the only constant that will ever stay with you from the time that you are here now until the time that you are gone. Now, I understand that a lot of you that are watching this, maybe you specifically that are watching this, might struggle and feel like you don't understand what your purpose is or know what your purpose is. And that's totally okay. It took me a long time to really uncover what my purpose was. And for me, it's helping young men like you through my coaching, through YouTube content, through Instagram. It's just helping build up young men to make sure that you guys are the best versions of yourself possible so we can have a stronger community of men that are in the world, right? Physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, everything. And, when I look back on it, that purpose has really always been with me and something that I've always been drawn to. But it really took me years of experimenting with other things to find out, like, that is truly what my purpose on this earth is. And that will be with me until the day I die. And the thing is that there's gonna be a lot of people that come into my life that leave. There'll be a lot of different opportunities that come in and business deals and different things that happen. But the one constant that will always remain is that purpose, and that purpose that carries me into my life. So that's the first truth as a man that I think is extremely important to understand no matter how old you are, but especially if you're a young man, because it'll help you be less attached to things as you grow. The second one, this is a big, big one, is you have to understand that vulnerability is a strength. It's not a weakness. And this is something I talk about constantly. I've talked about it on podcasts. I'll always talk about it on my channel. I talk about it on Instagram. I talk about it everywhere. Because a lot of men will teach you that being vulnerable and expressing how you feel, expressing what you've gone through is weakness. I completely disagree with that. And let me tell you why. Anytime I've ever shared about a troubling experience that I've gone through, whether that be something like horribly traumatic or maybe I was struggling with, some sort of depression at the time, or something was going on, and I was just very transparent and open about it. I have only ever had great response to that. And a lot of men are afraid to do this because they're afraid of what women are going to think of them. And to be honest with you guys, whenever I have been more vulnerable like that, I've had many women admire that. And you have to think about the reason why that is the case. Because when you think about it, vulnerability, there's this stigma around it that men shouldn't be vulnerable. And inherently because of that, now if you are the person that has the courage to be vulnerable and express yourself and explain how you feel and things like that, to a point, I'm not saying that you should be crying in front of people and stuff. I'm not saying that, but expressing emotion, expressing the human condition that we all live is an important thing. And it's not making you weak, it's making you strong. Because you have the balls, for lack of a better term, to step up and say, you know what, I'm not afraid to express how I feel. Because when you're afraid to show vulnerability, what you really are is you're afraid to be judged. And when you're afraid to be judged, that is a weakness, that is not a strength. So when you don't have the capacity, or I should say when you have the capacity to be vulnerable, you really, in a sense, are showcasing that you're not afraid of what people will think of you, which is highly attractive. The third one, and I've made an entire video about this, I'll link it in the cards right now, hopefully I remember to do that, is the ability to walk away is a superpower. Now guys, this is true in every aspect of your life, whether you have a job that you don't like very much or the boss sucks or whatever. You could be in a bad relationship where the girl doesn't respect you, or you just have lost interest, or whatever it may be, or maybe there's a bad friendship in your life. The ability to walk away is a superpower. And the reason it's a superpower is because you live from a mindset of abundance, meaning you understand that in life there is plenty of opportunity to, meet other girls, to get other jobs, to have other friendships. When you live in this mindset of, scarcity, basically, you'll never see this. You will never understand and see the fact that there's other options for me in the world. You get locked in and attached to the things that you're living with. And because of that, we end up accepting a life for ourselves that is not necessarily the best thing for us. It's very hard to get to that place, but the whole way you get to that place that you are able to walk away is when you're at peace with yourself, when you have confidence in yourself, you know your self-worth. And it takes a lot of life to really get to that point. I'm not saying at 17, 18 years old, you should be able to walk away from things at a drop of a hat. Once you've gotten further in life and you've had more relationships, more jobs, more business partnerships, more friendships, you really do see, and it comes back to the first thing I said, that the only constant in this life is your purpose. You end up finding out that a lot of people, a lot of opportunities and things, they come into your life and they're not necessarily meant to be here forever. So getting overly attached to things is a really bad mindset to have. Being detached, not to the point where it's toxic and you can't connect with people, but to the point where you feel healthy and in connection with yourself, that if you have to go be by yourself in any capacity in life, that you can subsist like that. That is a powerful place to be as a man. In fact, I would argue it's the most powerful place that you can be as a man. Moving on to number 4. This is a really good one. To live well, you must prioritize yourself, you must manage conflict constructively, and embrace risk and change. So your number one priority in your life has to be yourself as a man. It cannot be your relationship, it cannot be other people in your life, and that might sound overly selfish, and it's supposed to be. Because if you're not well, if you're not living up to your maximum potential, then you're gonna make everybody around you miserable. Maybe you came from a family where you saw your dad was miserable and he made everybody else miserable because of that. Or your mom was like that, or whoever. As a man, you need to be happiest, most fulfilled, and be driving towards success in your life. That's gonna radiate onto other people. And whereas some people see that as being selfish, I actually completely disagree with that, because when you are a positive force in life, you're gonna radiate that energy onto other people. All you need to do is go around somebody who's not like that and radiates constant negative energy to see just how awful that person affects other people. And you can see that in family dynamics, you see that in friendship circles, you can see that in relationships. I've seen it everywhere. So you have to prioritize yourself first and foremost. And another part of that I said in here is you must manage conflict constructively. That means you cannot react emotionally when somebody challenges you. You have to handle conflict constructively, meaning that your first response is going to be that fight or flight response. You're either going to want to punch the person in the face or scream at them and yell at them, or you're going to want to flee the scene or whatever. It's whatever your natural nervous system instinct is. I'm one of those people where when my parents would yell at me when I was younger, I would just scream back at them, right? And I would just yell and yell and yell. And the thing is, that doesn't get you anywhere. I've had plenty of partnerships. I've been in plenty of bands. I've had plenty of coaches for bodybuilding. And there's always conflict that arises. Something that's really worked for me is I don't have to be right. Like, I don't need to be in the correct, standpoint. I know what's right. I know what my morals are. I know what my standards are. And when they're being violated, I just simply will not, be there anymore. Again, that comes back to the power to walk away, right? It's very simple. Hey, you know what? This isn't working out for me. No hard feelings towards you. I'm just going to move on with my life. It's very simple. You manage conflict constructively. You stand up for yourself, but you're not an asshole in the process of doing it. And the last part of this one is that you must embrace risk and change. And this comes back to, these things all tie together. There's nothing that's going to be constant in your life other than that focus and purpose you have. Now, the way that you enact that purpose might change throughout the years. Like for me, sometimes it's YouTube, which I'm building now. It's my coaching company. But I've also done it through music. I've also done it through Instagram. And those things are still with me, and those will always be there. But now I'm building new ways in which I'm enacting that purpose. And some of that involves risk. And the thing is, guys, if you ever want to become something or do something with your life, you're going to have to experience risk. It's just the name of the game. You can't get anywhere in life without embracing risk. Now, the thing is, you have to be taking calculated risk. You can't just throw complete caution to the wind and just do whatever. You have to actually, take calculated risks in life. And that's true with building your physique. That's true with building your finances. That's true with, approaching a girl in the gym, whatever it may be. There's always going to be some risk involved to take that next leap with your life, but it's always worth it as long as that risk is calculated and the reward will follow it. So as long as you work hard and you see that process through. All right, number 5, the final one. Behind every successful strong man, there's a lot of failure, rejection, losing, and heartbreak. This one, guys, I know I've said this about a few of them, but this one to me might be the most important for you to grasp and understand in your mind. The reason I say that is because of the fact that when it comes to building yourself as a man, the road to becoming a strong man is very, very hard. It's extremely hard. That is why there's so many weak men on this earth. It's because being a strong man is hard. You have to go through a lot of shit in your life to get there. And the fact of the matter is, along that road, you're gonna get your ass kicked sometimes. You're gonna get rejected, you're gonna get your heart broken, you're gonna get, fired from a job. There's all these different things. I had a therapist many years ago tell me there's always a bend in the road that's coming and you don't know where it is and you don't know what it is. It could be a great thing or it can be a terrible thing. And the fact of the matter is, you have to understand that all these people you look up to that are highly successful individuals, they have been through more than you could possibly imagine. And the key is that when they went through that stuff, they used it as lessons to continue on their journey of building themselves as a man. Because I could sit here and tell you stories for hours about the things that have happened to me with relationships and business failures and, losing like really close in bodybuilding competitions, different things that happen, like losing people to death and tragedy, right? I could talk for hours about that stuff. I wouldn't have the character today that I have. I wouldn't have the resolve. I wouldn't have the ability to push through really hard times without those trying experiences. They have literally built me. So you have to understand that when you are going through those phases in life with those really hard times, you need to change your perspective on them and look at them and understand the fact that yes, it could be really, really hard, and yes, it hurts, and yes, it's not fun, but at the same time, they are building you to become the strongest version of yourself. There's a quote I really love. I don't remember it off the top of my head exactly, but whenever you come at a hard time in life, you have to think about the fact that it is literally building you to become a stronger version of yourself, right? You have to think about how muscle is literally built in the gym. You go into the gym, you break that tissue down really, really hard if you're training correctly. And then what happens? You leave the gym, you eat the correct foods, the protein, the amino acids come in, it replenishes those muscle fibers and it helps to build them back stronger and bigger. That is the same exact process that happens in your life when you go through really challenging times. Whether it's a girl that you loved breaking up with you, that you thought you were going to spend the rest of your life with, whether it's not getting a job that you had your mind drilled on, failing in your first, second, third, fourth business, and it's not till the fifth one that it really works. You get my point. These things are part of life. They're part of being a man, and your ability to understand that and push through that is going to be what makes you successful in the long run. And remember, you need to take a long run perspective look at your life. I'm 30 years old, and when I was in my 20s, I was in such a rush to do absolutely everything. Once I turned 30, I realized I'm actually still really young, and I have so long before a lot of the people that I look up to even had a shred of success. But in our world now with social media, it's also so easy to look at a kid who's 20 years old who has all the success at a young age, turning pro in bodybuilding, building a great business, or buying this beautiful house for himself. So you're always going to see all these examples and outliers. But the average person is not building crazy success at a very young age. It takes a long time to get to where you want in life. So keep at it, keep on your journey. And if you made it to this point of the video, I'm so grateful to have you here. Make sure you're subscribed, like this video so we can push this out to more men. I'm building a community of men that want to better themselves and level up and crush every aspect of life. So if that's you, make sure you're subscribed, and I will see you guys in that next video. I hope that this video helps you. I hope you ingrain these truths in your mind. Have a great day or night, depending on whenever you're watching this.